Hey, friends and family. Hey, loved ones. Hey, fools, magicians, and gardeners, and creators, and artists, the artists of our lives. Happy springtime and height of springtime. We just had Beltane a couple days ago, and I got to host a circle yesterday, so I super enjoyed that. Feeling a little bit tired today. I always, seem to have like some kind of an energetic hangover the next day, but it's not. Actually, it's like a lot more mild today than it has been. So, yeah, I feel, like there has been a shift in the energy or a shift within me. And so, yeah, sometimes I'll wake up like with a headache and just feel like, like just, I don't know, just like overdid it or something. But this time it's a little different. So, but I am just like allowing myself and caring for myself and letting myself be today. But I did want to share a couple things because I had so much come up in the last couple days. Of course, it's just been really a flood of um, continuity and just following through with different things, looking into me, my intimacy for me, and my love for all of me. And last time on part 7 of the whole value and self worth and self love and genuine self esteem and all of that, I've been sharing some questions about pride and from certain things that I read in Letting Go by David R. Hawkins, and some other things, that have been coming up. And so I shared last time about the 3 poisons or the unwholesome roots of unease in the wheel of life. Um, it's over here behind the flowers. Mr. Burns is holding up that little picture for me. Yeah. Such a good reminder, for me. And so the cock was coming up a lot this last month, and I just thought it was funny too, like that this all relates here. It's kind of funny how last time I was talking about lopa, or what the rooster symbolizes in the center of the wheel of samsara, of one of the poisons or the unwholesome roots. That he symbolizes greed, and it can take many forms. And I had read about that generosity of spirit was the remedy, or generosity was the remedy for that poison, or the antidote, for that poison. And so got to share a lot of gifts yesterday, and that felt really great. And that's why I loved like to hold those circles, just to invite that magic and that togetherness and coherence and that generosity of spirit, and opening up the space like for that creative love and life, like to regenerate and all of that. And just it's such a cool way to navigate and orient ourselves to life, matching our rhythm with nature's rhythm and our heartbeat with Mother Earth's heartbeat, and accessing and acknowledging the gifts and the resources and the qualities and what's all the gifts that are available for us to draw from or draw upon or call in or call on. So super awesome practices, like, and celebrations to observe and to participate and to celebrate, all of these gifts throughout, like, these growth cycles and development cycles, life, death, and rebirth cycles. And so questions that I wanted to look into. I just like briefly filled them out like last week or so, but I hadn't shared them yet. And then after like answering those questions, like just simply getting into some more things, and had some dreams and super interesting synchronicities, And the cards that I pulled yesterday before our gathering had to do with generosity and confrontation and um, aggressive actions. Yeah, so there are all those things at play. And so I just wanted to share a few things. So, one of my questions that I was given to answer and to choose for myself to investigate, and so I can know, what's eating me. So, how am I sabotaging my power and giving it away? Through expectations, resistance, and ego insistence that they see it my way. Yeah. So, pride, envy, jealousy, and not enough stories. Like, yeah, that was really a survival strategy. And it does have to do with like the spiritual ego or the super ego or the perfectionist and the idealist. How do I deplete myself of nourishment and vitality, denying myself my true fullness and all of my choices? And self-doubt, those programs of self-doubt, fears of inadequacy, my ability to grow, fertilize, nourish, and choose all I need. Like doubting my ability to grow, fertilize, nourish, and choose all I need. So that was the saboteur at play. And so, yeah, how am I sabotaging my power and giving it away? Yeah, so with the idealist and the super ego and the spiritual ego, or that romantic had to do like a little bit, like feels like that has to do with the tyrant, like my own inner tyrant of you have to be this way and not that way. And yeah, you can't be all that you are because that part's wrong, you know? And so it's interesting to look at certain things in different ways. So how do I let my anger boil up so that it boils my blood and overflows? Recollecting or recollecting the fiery material that keeps me recycling or summoning these bullshit not enough stories so that I can indulge in self-pity and self-importance and then like get mad at the other person for being wrong, and judge them harshly. So that's what I was always afraid of, was like being judged harshly. And I realized that I was judging pretty harshly myself, because I thought and I expected that these people that I loved and appreciated would know better. So I expected them to know better, and because they weren't choosing what I thought was right. Got to see into that a little bit more. How it was self-righteous pride, and resistance, keeping me from being in acceptance of all that is and all that we are and all that is right now, all it's been, and cock-blocking myself from choosing what I really need for me and what I want for me, who I want to be, by denying my own choices. So am I holding on to feelings, positive or negative, that I'm not willing to give up? And I realized, yes, I am. And I was. But now I'm willing to relinquish those, and I'm willing to give them up. They're no longer aligned, and they're no longer true for me. So I want to, clear my own mind, clear the distortions of my own mind. So some of those things, my pride and my stubbornness, like to defend myself, guilt for not being enough, and then resentment for giving too much. So the martyr, the miser, and the beggar there at play, the whore and the wounded child. Self-importance, I wanted others and those other people to validate me, to show me my worth and my importance, my value, my beauty, my goodness. And then, it wasn't enough for me. And they weren't enough for me, and I wasn't enough for me, so there wasn't enough. And that's a bullshit story. So what is the purpose of pride? And I just wrote the scorekeeper and the checker, like to make sure, like the fact checker. Yeah, it's kind of ironic in a lot of ways. It's bullshit. Bullshit fact checking. The judge, the nitpicker, the control freak, the perfectionist, the superego, false security. That's, my purpose of that form of pride that I was holding on to and that I didn't even realize. So what is the payoff? To feel like I'm right or I'm in the right. Self-righteousness, a crutch to be good enough to be seen as worthy and legitimate. Ego inflation, mother superior. To prove that I am enough. Why do I seek pride? Why do I seek it? It was a defense or a control mechanism of the little self to prop up my side. So for what does it compensate? Fear of being wrong and unloved, unlovable, invisible, and unrecognizable. What do I get to realize about my own true nature in order to let pride go without a feeling of loss? That I am all that I am, and I am right to be all I am, to know, love, and free all I am. So, like, if I can just let go of that story and those bullshit survival strategies and agendas and remember, like, who I really am and all I really am. So remembering not to take anything personally and always do my best. Taking actions to be, honor, share, receive the love that's always being given, the gifts that are always here. The dismemberment, the separation, the reunion, allowing my dual nature, my whole self, honoring, loving all parts of myself, and fully allowing myself. Knowing my worth and my value, my legitimacy, seeing me and we, intimacy, clarity, and prosperity. So pride in the perfectionist, the idealist, and the romantic kept me on the wheel, chasing the carrot on the stick, the approval, recognition, validation, feedback, proudness, pride, valuation, evaluation. That's what was eating me, my pride and vanity, through the not enough stories and how I wanted others to see me, receive me, or show love for me, show up for me, perceive me, and my value, worth, belonging, and legitimacy, my right to be me, measuring my worth and value and validity on how I perceived that others saw me or valued me or measured me, which is kind of funny too, because that is an assumption, and that's another one of the 4 agreements that I've recommitted to practicing this year. And don't make assumptions. This is from Don Miguel Ruiz. This is just a little summary that I wrote down a couple years ago. Don't make assumptions. The problem with making assumptions is that we believe that they are the truth. We don't perceive things the way they are. We literally dream up things in our imagination because we're afraid to ask for clarification. We make assumptions that we believe are right. Then we defend our assumptions and try to make others wrong. The biggest assumption we make is that everyone sees life the way that we do. We assume that others think the way that we think, feel the way that we feel, and judge the way that we judge, and abuse the way that we abuse. The way that we abuse ourselves, maybe. And this is why we have a fear of being ourselves around others, because we think everyone else will judge us, victimize us, abuse us, and blame us as we do or have ourselves. So, after many repetitions, these agreements become second nature. This is the mastery of love, gratitude, life, and personal freedom. I am enough, there is enough, life is enough, we are enough. The way to keep yourself from making assumptions is to ask questions. Make sure the communication is clear. If you don't understand, ask. Have the courage to ask questions until you are clear as can be. By making this one agreement, our lives are transformed. What we need comes easily because Spirit moves freely through us. Magic happens in our lives. And so, don't make assumptions. So like super perfect goes along with making others wrong so that we can prove ourselves right because of what we believe about ourselves being wrong, and how we need to be right in order to belong. So it's kind of silly tricks of the ego, silly ego tricks for kids. Yeah. And yeah, there were some interesting things that did emerge for me to see. And it's all about like fertility and appreciation, gratitude, and yes, that self-worth and self-valuing and appreciation for all the gifts that are being given that are happening for us and not to us. So it's all what we make of it. So I like this little quote that I wrote down. I was listening to some astrology last week by Molly McCord, and it's just this little quote: a spiritual journey of expanding consciousness is a choice. It is stepping away from one definition of self and entering a whole new expansive version of your own energy. Molly McCord. So on April 30th, let's see, I wrote how excited I was for my Beltane circle and preparations and celebrations and sharing and holding the space and making the room for all of the new, the full, whole, and the true. And then I realized last night too, it was just like, oh yeah, I get to make room. I get to make room, like, and be present. Make room for me. Like when I'm with others, I wouldn't make the room for me. And so, yeah, I'm still looking at that. But turkey medicine. So my ally turkey came up and popped up again, and that was I pulled a couple of cards before my circle started, and yeah, I pulled turkey in the reverse, and she was saying there's some kind of denial where I'm disallowing generosity with myself or with others. And I was like, okay, I'm willing to look at that, like where I might be denying that, like, because I don't know, like I'm open to see like what I haven't seen. So yeah, instead of beating myself up about that, oh, I haven't been generous, I haven't been good enough, it's just like, okay, like let's play with this, and like thank you for the message, and like I'm willing to see like how I can be more generous with myself and others, and how I can allow myself and others and allow us all our own ways. And so I did like kind of get certain things about like where I wasn't allowing others to be like where they were and to be themselves, even though like to me like it wasn't really them, it was something they were playing at being. But like, yeah, can I allow that for them? Can I allow that for myself? Yes, I can. That's what I choose. So thank you, turkey medicine, turkey, the giveaway, and the generosity of spirit. Generosity of spirit is the antidote to this unwholesome root of unease or dis-ease. So it's pretty awesome that theme keeps emerging again, like the generosity and hospitality and homecoming, coming home to ourselves, being love for ourselves, and making room for ourselves. Yeah, to be held in this wellspring, in this love being, this loved being, this loved, held, supported being. Yeah, that we are. So we'll see what magic we can invite, ignite, and play with, in and through, receive, and open to, allow and welcome, express, and choose. And oh yeah, so I'm just writing some things about Beltane, and I just did a little video, just a short 30-something minute video on Beltane, but just reviewing some of these things about the 3 unwholesome poisons that they fit in the fear and desire cycles on the wheel of life, or samsara. So the unwholesome roots of our unease, the roots from which all unskillful or harmful actions spring. The chief root, the primary cause of misery and suffering, confusion, attachment, clinging, possessing. So there's moha, ignorance, or delusion, that's symbolized by the pig, that leads to greed and hate. And it's more about vision that's obscured, or about blindness. So yeah, that's ignorance. So that's interesting, because that was like one of the things I was kind of angry about, And maybe I was angry because of my own ignorance, and what seemed to be my own shortcomings and my own flaws and my own not enoughness. Yeah. Because if we could just get through, like if we could just understand certain things, like I was convincing myself, yeah, we wouldn't have to go through like certain things, but obviously there's certain things that do need to be played out and cleansed, cleared, purged, yeah, and integrated, transmuted. So yeah, it's just like embracing the mess and not judging it for being like uncomfortable or messy or maybe what it seems to be on the surface. And also like getting that higher perspective, that wider perspective, and remembering the whole and as above, so below, and just trusting in the flow and this divine order and this divine timing and this growth cycle that we're in right now, and coming back home to ourselves and remembering who we are and becoming who we are, blooming into who we are, into all we are. So the antidote to ignorance is wisdom. And then there was the devesha, hate, anger, and aversion, as well as hatred. Hate arises from ignorance because we don't see the interconnectedness of all things and all beings, and instead we see us as standing apart. So, hate is represented by the snake. We judge things to be desirable or undesirable. Desire makes us want to grasp, attach, or possess, or we feel aversion and we want to avoid like what we feel is undesirable. And so that's one way we can cock block ourselves in certain ways, like yeah, our own avoidance mechanisms and strategies to avoid what we don't want to see, or what we don't want to feel, or yeah, all those things. So we are also likely to be angry with anyone who gets between us and something that we want or desire. We are jealous of people who have things that we want or desire. We hate things or we fear things that frighten us or seem to pose a threat to us or our small image of ourselves. The antidote is loving kindness for hate. Yeah, metamorphosis. And so then the lopa or raga is this greed, desire, lust, pride, symbolized by the cock, the desire or attraction for something that we think will gratify us or make us somehow better or greater. It also refers to the drive to preserve and protect ourselves. Greed can take many forms, but a good example of lopa would be acquiring things to elevate our status. Yeah, and what would that be? Like, I think acquiring things, it's not just about like material possessions, but it's like whatever we think is going to enhance or elevate our status, or the status of our image, our self-image, our small self-image, our ego, this super ego, super inflated ego. So yeah, whatever we think will elevate our status. Self-glorification, manipulation, and exploitation. And that was one other thing that I'll bring up in just a minute. So emotional blackmail to feel more secure, but ultimately leads to isolation and suffering. The antidote to loba is generosity, forgiving, generosity of spirit. And yeah, I had read an article on the 3 poisons by Barbara O'Brien from Learn Religions last time. And so yeah, just looking at guilt, shame, ignorance, pride, vanity, hatred, anger, envy, jealousy, greed, unskillfulness, and suffering. Truth, compassion, love, and joy, generosity, goodwill, and remembrance. Surrender, trust, faith, strength, and courage, integrity, gratitude, and clarity. Mercy, forgiveness, grace, allowance, acceptance, receptivity is the remedy to dissolve, transmute, and integrate all this poison and pain. So Turkey, yeah, that's what the Turkey card in reverse was telling me, was that to give in order to receive, that is manipulation. And so that, like, yeah, that goes along with my exploitation, the exploitation and the manipulation and self-glorification that is symbolized by the rooster of greed, lust, and pride. And so, yeah, I thought that was pretty interesting. That There's the poison, but there's always the antidote and there's always the remedy available inside. So, there was, this dream that I had on May 1st. I woke up and just kind of remembered some of it, and I'll share a little bit of it, and I got some good messages from it. So I'm in a household, or within a household, with some clueless goobers who are in their own programs of artificial reality or relating. They are convinced of the lies they've agreed to and are under a spell of mimicry. And mimicking keeps coming up too this week in the parroting and the copycat. Mimicry. So, they are convinced of the lies they've agreed to and are under a spell of mimicry and obedience to benevolent external authority, self-righteousness, fear, pride, and greed. They have no idea and no clue how to really see beyond the false screens of conformity and what they've been fed and been taught to believe. They make fun of others, belittling and devaluing, labeling and discarding or name-calling, targeting, antagonizing, demonizing, compartmentalizing others who don't go along or agree, and the ways that they choose to be, live, choose, and receive, etc. They really don't know. They're trapped in their own lower psyche or the pain body. They are children. They are children playing games that they've learned to play, and they don't fully understand the concepts, workings, and machinations or consequences of this game. So they've only been taught to see it one way. They've only been operating from one half or a small part of the whole brain. They really are clueless, it seems, when trying to communicate with them logically and superficially, or from the one of the two polarities. Yeah, one extreme of the two polarities. So there's a boy and a girl, one boy and one girl, and they only really see or notice or are semi-aware of emotional reactions and triggerings, and how to get other people to react by parroting, regurgitating, repeating, mimicry, making the other wrong and less than, because that's how they've been taught to play this bullshit, silly game. Yeah, and some of the things that they're saying have been implanted and broadcasted and beamed, and they are seeing, or they are sending back the feedback, or they're on autopilot, stuck in this story loop of conditioning and social engineering programming, mind control programming. They believe what they are saying, even though they don't understand anything beyond this. They just are semi-aware of the small payoffs to continue this name-calling game of projections, pride, and comparison, better and lesser than, all distorted descriptions. Some of these words and scripts sting a little when they leave their lips, but then I realize a little shift when I decide that I don't need to agree to any of it, and then I'm immune and impervious to their thoughtless actions, words, and projections. I realize it's just a little confused boy. He's just repeating and acting out what he's learned, and their words, thoughts, and actions cannot harm me anymore. If I detach and disengage from playing into this ruse, or I choose to make my own agreements, that I don't need to take it so personally. I don't need to agree to their emotional garbage. And that's don't take anything personally. Yeah. Or take myself take myself so seriously. Or operate from that level or the frequency that they're operating from. Just leave it alone. It is done. So the ruse was designed to hook, ensnare, and confuse. The ruse of this game was designed to hook, ensnare, and confuse, to take me away from my center, my power, my knowing, and my truth. That's where I've been giving my power away, my worries and fears of how others might see or choose to see me, perceive me, receive me, and how they may persecute, blame, judge, and condemn me, and others who think, see, and relate similarly or differently. But coming back to my center and remembering that there really is nothing to defend, so I can let go of my pride and breathe to be here, begin again. Begin, be genuine, begin again, be love, be truthful again. And so I get to surrender and remember to come home to my center and be all my love for me and we. I get to remember, breathe, release, and center, and be one at peace within me, we. This is my superpower, to be at one in the center and radiate dynamic peace. Yeah, outward. And that's funny too, because the last couple days, I have felt different in the mornings where it's been more peaceful, and I've awakened with my chant, my little chanting song, Om Shanti Om, playing through my head in the morning. And I was like, yeah, thank you. I'll receive that. And yeah, grateful. I'll focus on that today. Dynamic peace. Om Shanti Om, Om Shanti Om, Om Shanti Om. So, broadcasting my own true frequencies and letting go of what others may think or what they choose to believe, how they operate, how they choose to operate, how they will be, that really has nothing to do with me. So, I choose not to take others' garbage personally. They're all in their own bubbles of distorted reality or, yeah, their own ways of relating. Yeah. Relating themselves to the world or the world to themselves. They can only see what they allow themselves to see. They can only be who they choose to be. They are only aware of what they choose to see, what they choose to believe, what they're open to receive. I don't need to try to convince them of anything, of my worth, my intelligence, my value, and my integrity. I acknowledge and claim all the love that I need for me, all the love that I am, all my love for me. I hold it inside and I bring it forth and through me to nourish, support, and honor my being. I release the need to prove myself worthy, to be seen as right, legitimate, enough, and worthy of acceptance and belonging. I choose compassion for these wandering, confused souls. They are young children being taught by wolves in sheep's clothing and forces they cannot yet comprehend at this time. Until then, I forgive them and I release them for not knowing. And I forgive and I release myself. I wish them well on their journey of discovery and will go my own way, gratefully, peacefully, truthfully, in gratitude, humility, peace, unity within me, within my own being, my homecoming back to me, coming home to myself. Yeah, to be free. So I woke up yesterday or the day before with this song, Om Shanti Om, playing in my head, and really did set the tone and the stage for my day by opening up and receiving that for me. So I'm grateful to feel more at peace and ease than I have felt for quite some time. It feels good to shed this old skin and come back home to be me again, truthfully. Beltane magic and fertility, harmonizing the two to bring the third point of view in and through, forth and through, to be birthed into being. The power of fertility and the three that begets everything. Worth, value, and appreciation. It feels so good to feel grateful for everything. Integration of the whole, compassion, faith, and inner strength, seeing all from a wider perspective and from a clearer lens, like Eagle Medicine, Merlin, and Arthur, through the eyes of my innocent, wise, foolish child, and my senses wander awe, enchantment, and unself-consciousness. It's all about the child of light and living, growing things, life, love, creativity, fertility, abundance, peace, and joy. Yeah, inclusivity. And so, the seeker, the buffalo, the turkey, Ganesh, elephant, crab, and fish, the oracle, the seer, the devotee, and the peacemaker, the warrior, the goddess, Isis, Durga, Kali, demon slayer, lion, tiger, Sarasvati, the femme fatale, the maiden, the mother, the priestess, magician, the fool, empress and the emperor, the hierophant, the lover, strength, and the hermit. Worth, value, reception, receptivity, ask, imagine, praise, bless, thank, willingness, integration, manifestation, transfiguration, metamorphosis. Crystalline, flowering, blossoming, expanding, growing, rising, the quickening, the awakening, the enlivening, the enlightening, the remembering, the wandering, the grieving process. Initiation, activation, soul retrieval, alchemy, individuation. So I was looking at some of my videos from last June, and it really did, like, all of it. It was so awesome. Like, I watched a couple in the last couple days, and I took some notes about, like, some of the themes that were emerging as well. And yeah, really, really awesome that it relates to what I'm working through now on different levels. So yeah, very, very cool. And I might share that at another time. Yeah, but I had this other dream. and I'll probably share that one next time as well. But it is pretty much, I'll let go of expectations, resentments, and preconceived notions, implanted suggestions, and standards of false perfection. I accept our limitations and I allow them for us all. I acknowledge our potential, our gifts, and our imperfections, so we can all learn, remember, awaken, and choose to grow, develop, and become through being and experiencing, living the life that we choose. All that we are, and we are so beautiful. Blessed are they that are merciful, for they will receive and know mercy, grace, peace, the beatitudes. Oh, generosity of spirit. Thank you, turkey medicine. Generosity is the antidote to low paw or pride, envy, greed, lust, symbolized by the rooster or cock in the wheel of life. The three poisons or unwholesome roots of unease. Don't give to receive. This is manipulation. True giving is without regret and with a joyful heart. Be generous with yourself and others. You are being given a gift. Congratulations. This love is who you are. Thank you, Great Spirit. Thank you, life and fullness. Thank you, great heart. Thank you, turkey medicine. Yes. Thank you. Friends on life. So Badger came up. Aggressive actions are needed. Balance and healing and persistence, willingness, cut away the old growth. Butterfly, transformation, development, dissolving, dismembering, transmutation, remembrance, regeneration, metamorphosis. Yeah, transformation, transfiguration, transmutation. Life and change. Life, death, rebirth. Yeah, cycles. Wild boar came up. Confrontation, facing fears, standing for truth, and courage in service to the whole. Just be willing. Willingness. Buffalo, generosity, union, faith, and great spirit. Surrender and make room for me and we. I'm letting go of expectations and standards, false standards of enoughness. That can lead to miserly attitudes and cutting off what is available and being offered right now. And then skunk medicine. Skunk medicine came up again. Self-respect, nonchalance, attracting and repelling. Knowing how to attract and knowing when to repel. Yeah. And so it was interesting, like letting go of like a lot of things and then asking for help and just being willing and calling on Durga, because Durga is the demon slayer and she is that feminine power and she relaxes into love and she commands this like strength. Yeah. Is like unmatched by any artificial thing, you know. So Durga came up last night in my goddess book. I flipped open my goddess book and there she was. I had just called on her and chanted Om Durga Yai, Om Doom Durga Yai Namaha, Om Doom Durga Yai Namaha, Om Doom Durga Yai Namaha, Om Doom Durga Yai Swaha. Yeah, and so I opened up that book and there was Durga. So I'm gonna, do a little meditation this week and ask for Durga's help. And see what I am open and what I am able to receive with that. So I have been calling on her and her strength, love, wisdom, assistance to help me confront my fears and relax into love. Gratitude for the journey and letting my expectations of perfection go. Letting old judgments and limitations go. Allowing myself and all others all their fullness to be, develop, learn, teach, grow, expand, and appreciate. All this love for all this love through all this love in all. I am safe and protected, I am worthy, and I am all this love through all. So I sent out appreciation, apologies, forgiveness, and gratitude to a few people that I've been harshly judging in my mental streams. Watching that kind of play out. When bringing in the witness